Stepping through the fog with the heavy metal tread. Concrete shuddering beneath the weight of what I said. Blackie striking like a hammer on a cold nail. Shadows lengthening across the pavement, turning pale. I don't seek permission for the space I occupy. Iron in my lungs under a bruising jagged sky. The low end vibrating inside your hollow chest. Pressure building up until it puts you to the test. Velocity is rising while the clock begins to bleed. So in every action like a catastrophic scene. No retreat within the structure of this rhythmic cage. Writing out the future on a scorched and dusty page. Forces colliding in the middle of the street. Thunder in the pulse of the digital beat. Unyielding power moving through the dark veins. Breaking every link of the ceremonial chain. Stand against the tide with a cold steel glare. Dominating breath in the suffocating air. The heavy sound reigns in the saddle of the storm. Reshaping the world into a sharper kind of form. Adrenaline is surging like a high voltage wire. Walking through the freeze, but my spirit is on fire. Rapid fire clicking like a gear inside the clock. Solid as the mountain and as jagged as the rock. Watching every movement with a predatory sight. Cutting through the static in the dead of the night. Low strings groaning like a giant waking up. Spilling every drop from the overflowing cup. Not a single tremor in the grip upon the blade. Driving in the wreckage of the plans that they made. Everything is moving at a cinematic pace. Leaving not a trace of the fear upon my face. Forces colliding in the middle of the street. Thunder in the pulse of the digital beat. Unyielding power moving through the dark veins. Breaking every link of the ceremonial chain. Stand against the tide with a cold steel glare. Dominating breath in the suffocating air. The heavy sound reigns at the center of the storm. Reshaping the world into a sharper kind of form. Basements trembling from the subatomic roar. Kicking down the hinges of the heavy iron door. Darkness isn't empty, it is filled with every sound. Building up an empire from the frozen solid ground. Tension in the wires, tension in the very soul. Taking back the fragments to rebuild a broken home. I am not a witness, I am the deciding strike. Nothing in the distance that the current version light. Keep the base relentless, keep the focus on the name. Burning down the labels and the memory of the name. Enact on the surface, leaving craters in the wake. Take whatever fucking that the shaking hands can take. Forces colliding in the middle of the street. Thunder in the pulse, the digital beat. Unyielding power moving through the dark veins. Breaking every link of the ceremonial chain. Stand against the tide with a cold steel glare. Dominating breath in the suffocating air. The heavy sound range in the center of the storm. Reshaping the world into a sharper kind of form.
the heavy metal tread. Concrete shuddering beneath the weight of what I said. Black keys striking like a hammer on a cold nail. Shadows lengthening across the pavement, turning pale. I don't seek permission for the space I occupy. Iron in my lungs under a bruised and jagged sky. The low and vibrating inside your hollow chest. Pressure building up until it puts you to the test. Velocity is rising while the clock begins to bleed. So in every action like a catastrophic seed. No retreat within the structure of this ribbon cage. Writing out the future on a scorched and dusty page. Forces colliding in the middle of the street. Thunder in the pulse of the digital beat. Unyielding power moving through the dark veins. Breaking every link of the ceremonial chain. Stand against the tide with a cold steel glare. Dominating breath in the suffocating air. The heavy sound reigns in the center of the storm. Reshaping the world into a sharper kind of form. Adrenaline is surging like a high voltage wire. Walking through the freeze but my spirit is on fire. Rapid fire clicking like a gear inside the clock. Solid as the mountain in this jacket, that's the white. Watching every movement with the predatory sight. Cutting through the static in the dead of the night. Low strings rolling like a giant waking up. Spilling every drop from the overflowing cup. Not a single tremor in the grip upon the blade. Vibing in the wreckage of the plans that they made. Everything is moving at a cinematic pace. Leaving out a trace of the fear upon my face. Forces colliding in the middle of the street. Thunder in the pulse of the digital beat. Unyielding power moving through the dark veins. Breaking every link of the ceremonial chain. Stand against the tide with a cold steel glare. Dominating breath in the suffocating air. Yes, heavy sound reigns in the center of the storm. Reshaping the world into a sharper kind of form. Raceless trembling from the subatomic roar. Kicking down the hinges of the heavy iron door. Darkness isn't empty, it is filled with heavy sound. Building up an empire from the foes inside the ground. Tension in the wires, tension in the very soul. Picking back the fragments to rebuild a broken whole. I am not a witness, I can lead the silent strike. Nothing in the distance that the current version like. Keep the base relentless, keep the focus on the aim. Burning down the labels in the memory of the name. Impact on the surface, leaving craters in the wake. Take whatever fortune that the second hit can take. Hey! Forces colliding in the middle of the street. Thunder in the pulse of a digital key. Unyielding power moving through the dark veins. Breaking every shink of a ceremonial chain. Stand against the tide with a cold steel glare. Dominating breath in the suffocating air. The heavy sound reigns in the center of the storm. Reshaping the world into a sharper kind of form.